Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Suzerain, a new text-based choose-your-own-adventure role-playing game where you are the leader of a country in the 1950s. It's a fictional country dealing with a number of problems, from a potential pandemic to internal political disputes to external political disputes, and attempting to amend the Constitution to make it more democratic. In our last episode, we did successfully manage to amend the Constitution, and in this episode, we're going to be dealing with some foreign policy, some state visits, getting to meet some of our contemporary leaders in this era, and I think that's pretty exciting. I think the foreign policy and the interpersonal relationships in this game is pretty interesting and well done, so we'll go ahead and jump right back in. This was taken from a Twitch live stream on my channel from a couple of days back, and I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy. Where is Stallport? Is Stallport in our country? Oh, that's up here. Oh no, Arcasia is giving them a cold shoulder maybe? By the way, our economy bumped up to level 4, but our budget's -4. Yeah, the education ones might have been nice, but moot point anyway. Lincoln commerce at an all-time high. Commercial activity reports coming from the Ministry of Economics displays that small business activity in Lincoln has increased with new goods entering the port, with trucks traveling at the same distance before with faster speeds thanks to the new highway. Okay. Sordland's Minister of Defense, General Yusuf Lankia, is reporting that the efforts to modernize the Air Force is complete. According to his report, our existing 130 Sordland S-13 fighters and Benif Delivery B-34 bombers have been upgraded with the latest technology, S-16 fighter jets and Benif Prime Delivery BPD-36 bombers. The new bombers have a bomb radius of 460 kilometers over the previous 400-kilometer range and an increased 200-meter precision. In addition, their nighttime bombing effectiveness has been increased tremendously, making the current pilots nicknaming them Night Herons. Okay. Maybe we can bomb the nukes that are being developed in Rumburg. If there really are nukes. By the way, our budget, -4. That's pretty low. Yeah, it sounds like Lesbia may be abandoning Agnolia. They may be in some trouble. Trade talks with President of Lesbia. Among flashes and cheers, we departed from Whole Sword Central Train Station. Our destination was Perla, the capital of Lesbia. The historic route we were using was also called the Southern Express. We passed through the Lesbian mountain range to the lowlands with a... By the way, so... Can I hide this here? We are heading down to Lesbia down here toward their capital at Perla, so we're obviously taking the railroad south from here, I guess. Or maybe it's over east here and then west and then south. Raven, I can't invade them. They're way stronger than me. But thank you for your support in calling them out for having WMDs. I appreciate it. We passed through the Lespasian mountain range to the lowlands with a short stop at the beautiful Sierra Nueva, where Lesbian security forces joined us. Looking outside the window, the difference of wealth between Valgan and Sierra Nueva was extraordinary. I heard a knock on the door to my office on the train, and Simon entered. Mr. President. Simon, have a seat. I wanted to have a quick chat about Prime Minister Alvarez and give you a heads up. There have been rumors about his demeanor in public appearances. Go on. He is known to have met with other state leaders while intoxicated on various occasions. Some even call him an alcoholic. Is that something that could affect this trade deal? Honestly, I don't know. The headline was circling over Stallport. This happened just yesterday. Apparently he was so drunk that he couldn't get off the plane on a diplomatic visit. After this incident, some say he is unfit to serve, but I don't believe that at all. Why is that? Although his presidency is riddled with these kinds of incidents, I also heard that he's a shrewd man. So maybe he's just using the appearance of alcoholism to get out of tricky situations, like he's trying to avoid talking to Agnolia because a war might be going, so he pretends to be drunk so that he can't get off the plane, right? Thanks for giving me a heads up. I'll see you when we arrive. A few minutes later, a long whistle. Our train came out to a stop. I waved to the crowd from the window. Lots of reporters that flocked over were pushed away by the Lespasian security guards. We made our way to our cars, and the convoy began its short trip to the Yellow House. Yellow House was situated at the very center of Perla, in the middle of a circular park that was off limits to regular citizens. The park was full of roses on small patches. The convoy came to a stop, and I made my way to the entrance. The assistants directed me to a room to wait for Prime Minister Alvarez. Wait. I started waiting in the exquisite room with golden chandeliers. I waited for around 10 minutes, and there was no sign of Prime Minister Alvarez. It was almost time for our meeting. My chair started to feel uncomfortable. I stood up and walked around to look at the various items in the room. A beautiful golden teapot piqued my interest. Inspect the teapot. While I was touching it, the handle broke off, and I looked around. Oh, God, no! I broke it! Oh no, a diplomatic incident. I guess we'll leave it next to the teapot. Although I knew that this was one of the youngest state leaders in the world right now, I was still surprised by how long he looked at his young age. He wasn't the leader for not just any state. He was leading one of the strongest countries in eastern Maricopa. He was holding his head like he had a headache, and he was stumbling. Upon seeing me, he immediately composed himself. We shook hands. He gestured toward the two couches, and we sat down face to face. President Rayne, welcome to Perla. Good to have you here. I hear a lot about your successes. And I hear a lot about your successes as well, Mr. Alvarez. I try, Mr. Rayne. I smelt the strong odor of alcohol. Let's begin then. So you're here for the trade deal. What was it about again? Can you remind me? We want to provide Swordish tungsten in return for Lespasian capital. Ah, yes, right. Sorry, I've just been very busy lately. You know, being a president makes you pretty busy, so I don't have any issues with this deal. Except there's one problem. Valen. Your decision to defend the border while Smolensk committed war crimes diverted all those refugees to here. Now we have a full-blown refugee crisis in Lesbia, which unfortunately means that the price has gone up, Mr. Rayne. Tell me what you want, Mr. Alvarez. One thing that anyone can possibly ever want out of Valen. I want their oil. And how are you planning on getting that? A lot of oil from Valen is passing through Sordland. And Swordish Petroleum owns most of the oil trade in Sordland. Founded by the Rayne family in 1849, a state asset, the Swordish Petroleum is the main extractor of oil in Sordland. It is focused in and around Estord, where one of the three largest oil fields in the Maricopa continent lies. The corporation ran into many issues due to the transitional government and infighting between Swordish regimes, but has survived many political takeovers due to its strategic importance of fueling the critical transportation and manufacturing requirements of the state. Currently, it still extracts most of the oil needs of the country from north of Nargis. Okay? Enlighten me. I want you to sell me Swordish Petroleum, or the deal is off. You're a very shrewd man, Mr. Alvarez. I'll take that as a compliment. Hey, Sebastian Dorian, thanks for the follow. Fuck. This seems like a really bad idea, selling off our assets. We're getting oil from Valen, though. I accept the deal. By we, I mean ATO. We would like to see Sordland in our sphere. What do you think, Mr. Rayne? Why would you do that for Sordland? What's in it for you? Thanks for the offer, but that's not in our aims right now. That sounds excellent. How do we begin? Why would you do that for Sordland? What's in it for you? Prosperity in Eastern Maricopa. Remedying old alliances. And most importantly, forming a defensive pact against United Cortana. Those damn communists! I didn't sell oil. I sold the oil company. We need to stop them before it's too late. Vagsland, those barbarians are preparing to invade Hegeland on false accusations. If Angolia is first, Sordland will be next. I'll be frank, Eastern Maricopa's only way to survival is through ATO. And we need the support of one of the largest players in Eastern Maricopa, Sordland. The beautiful country of Sordland is key to all of this. We need you, Mr. Rayne. We need Sordland. Are you with us? Will you defend our continent against the blight of communism? Well, this feels a little bit melodramatic. Down with the communists. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect Sordland. I want the trade deal. ATO would probably keep me safe from Rumburg. I think you're exaggerating the threat. I have my doubts about this. Vive la Revolution. No, I don't want to just be, like, overtly corrupt, but I also want to, like... I'm giving you this option for your country's own good, Mr. Rayne. I offer you an alliance. Together we'll shield the continent against Melanivi's evil. Not to mention that you'll have Arcasia's full backing, the most powerful ally you can have in the era. Well, there's only two options now, Star Wars fans. We either can be allied to them or we can refuse. Why don't they just offer their support to Agnolia, though? Why are they offering their support to me? That's what I'm a little confused on. Feels a little bit sketch, doesn't it? I'm gonna deny this. I don't want to get dragged to an international conflict. You owe me a teapot. Ha! He was obviously not drunk. It was a ploy. My government budget decreased again? Private meeting with Peter Vectern. It was a dark and chilly evening when Peter called and asked if we could meet. He gave no details. All he said was that it was important. I drove alone through Wholesword suburbs until I reached the meeting point he named. 147 Verch Avenue, number 26. Yeah, the gameplay is pretty much all branching conversations, by the way. Okay, our old campaign headquarters, untouched but since the night of the election. This was where everything began. I made my way up the dusty staircase of the office building. The light in the second floor hallway was out, so I used a cigarette lighter to find my way to the wooden door marked 26. I pulled on the handle, but it wouldn't budge. The heavy door had always been a pain to open. Peter opened the door with all his weight and made a screeching sound as it opened. Without further ado, I bid you welcome to the great nostalgia trip hosted by yours truly, Peter Vectern. He made an exaggerated bow. The dust from the opened door was still settling down. Feeling sentimental yet? Indeed, I haven't been to this place in ages. I miss it sometimes, even the damn door. Come over here, remember this? He walked over to his old desk and pointed at the gramophone that had annoyed our neighbors and kept us company for so many late nights. Peter flipped the switch and it filled the room with swing music from the 20s. I'll be damned, it still works. I thought this office was sold off. No, I've been paying the rent. Too many memories attached to this place to just sell it. And you know, we might use it again soon. He put his hand under his desk and brought a bottle out. He took a swig out and passed the bottle to me. Drink. Peter snapped his fingers to the music while going through the items in the room. It looked virtually unchanged since the election night. Come on, have a look around. See if it doesn't bring back memories. Check your old desk drawers. It was a photograph of me and Monica sitting under a tree. This must have been 10, maybe 15 years ago. We looked so young, so happy. Monica would love to see this. Look through the old storage boxes. It was an emerald-colored statue of a goat, the symbol of Sordland. I remembered that this was a gift from Brenda, one of the 53 election campaign assistants. It would look good on my desk in the palace. Brenda? Brenda, always sucking up to you. And where did it get her? Seriously, where? I have no idea where she ended up. I'll leave that statue. Maybe that would be bad for my wife to find. Or maybe we'll end up running into Brenda, and it wouldn't be bad to have. I don't know. I'll leave the statue. Going through the records next to the gramophone. I'll have another drink. You all right? Yeah, I'm okay. Let's go up to the roof. The view is always amazing from there. I've not yet seen a night sky so beautiful enough to make Peter Vectern cry. I messed up, Anton. I messed up big time. Evelyn is leaving me. She wants a divorce. What did you do? I've been sleeping with Livia Suno. That's all, you lucky man. I had a feeling about you two. We got careless, I know. I'm so sorry. It's just Evelyn hasn't been the same since she lost her job, and Livia was giving me the sultry looks from the day I hired her. I thought she was my secretary. You were away. I was drunk. One thing led to another. But she's more than just a pretty girl, Anton. She's smart and kind. I think we really connected. No need to justify. Men will be men after all. I like her too. That doesn't mean I'd break my vows and risk a scandal for a bit of horizontal polo. Oh boy. I know, but we're ending things. I told her it's too unprofessional, and I want Evelyn back. Who else knows beside me and the three of you? Nobody, I swear. Well, maybe Lucien, since he knows everything, but you know he'll never spill the beans. How many years have we known each other? How many scrapes have we gotten ourselves out of? I can handle this. Just trust me. I turned to face my friend and vice president. The habits that had gotten him dubbed the bad boy of Sordish politics when we were young were no longer so charming coming from a middle-aged man. Yet he was still a capable politician, and I couldn't ignore our long history together. Okay. XX Vanilla Blue XX, thank you very much for the follow. You've done enough. All right, it's just an affair. It's over at that. We can weather this. You've done enough damage. I'll handle it myself, or I will be blunt. You will fix this, or I will remove you from office. Malachi and Heinrich von Baden, thank you for the follows. So what do you guys want to do here? What do you think? I'm kind of leaning toward 3. I've kind of had it with Pater. I could do ASMR with that voice. Thanks, I guess. I'm not good at pronouncing words, though. I screw up all the time. I've always wondered if I have like a very mild case of dyslexia. So I might have a good voice. Not great at pronouncing things. That's a really long name with a lot of different letters. Thank you for the follow. And T.S. Miley Dom, thank you for the follow. X, T, J, P, B, Q, D, F, N, H, A, 7, Q, U, X, E, T, D, 5, U, Y, 9, G, V. Thank you for the follow. You guys are saying 3? We'll see you, Star Wars fan. Thank you for the follow. Hope you have a nice night. Get some nice sleep. Yeah, you're about an hour ahead of me. It's an hour earlier for me. You guys seem to be leaning on 3. Be blunt, fix this, or remove him from office. That's kind of where my head's at, too. But he's also my friend. Like, I'm just worried about, like, poisoning the well a little bit. Don't burn your supporters. A bad dad. Maybe I should go with 2. 2 doesn't commit me to either direction, and this sort of goes with my wishy-washy, non-decisive approach. But I also kind of get the sense that, like, it lets me control, like, it gives me the initiative. I don't trust Peter to solve this. So I can either burn him or I can support him, but I will handle this myself. I want the initiative, so I'll go with 2. As soon as I arrived home, I headed up to my study, sat down, and stared at the telephone. Call Evelyn, call Lucien, call no one. Call Lucien and tell him what happened. I trust Lucien. He's the one guy I seem to trust. Mr. President. Thank you for calling me, Mr. President. This serves to confirm some suspicions of my own. We have to meet. Right now? Tomorrow morning in your office, early before either of the 2 arrive. Don't bring this up with anyone else. I fear we may have more than a mere dalliance on our hands. The line dropped. I stared at the receiver, wondering about his last statement meant. Was this going on that I didn't What was going on that I didn't know about? Any chance that Livia, or whatever her name is pregnant? Hey, look, my economy's starting to turn around a bit. We're back up to 5, which is basically where we started, but our budget's in the shitter. It was early in the morning after my talk with Peter. The sun was just beginning to peek over the horizon. The Maroon Palace was empty, save for a few cleaning staff. I entered my office to find Lucien already waiting for me. Mr. President, thank you for meeting with me at this hour. I couldn't sleep anyway. Very well. I'm pleased that you chose to call me after your conversation with Mr. Vectorn last night, although I was already aware of his illicit relationship with Miss Suno. I figured as much. You do know everything that goes on in this palace, after all. On its own, given Mr. Vectorn's established reputation as something of a playboy, the affair is unlikely to cause much damage. However, more troubling possibilities have been brought to light. A recent conversation with Mr. Hailstone, our whistleblower from Rumburg, revealed the presence of a spy within the Maroon Palace. I believe Miss Suno is our mole. She's been using her relationship with Mr. Vectorn to gather information. Laugh incredulously. Tell me more. You're being paranoid, Lucien? That's preposterous. Tell me more. I can do better than that. I'll show you. Lucien does not have a monocle, but he should. Lucien reached into his coat pocket, pulled out an audio tape, and fed it into the reel-to-reel machine on my desk. This was recorded in the palace at 1809 on the second day of your trade visit to Lesbia. He pressed play. I heard Peter and Livia's voices. You're sure everyone's gone for the day? Relax, Liv. Nobody's working that hard with President Stick Up His Ass off in Lesbia. Oh, Peter, you asshole. Livia giggled. I heard the sound of kissing, then of drinks being poured. I'm glad you stayed behind. Why am I speaking that way? Did he tell you how it's going over there? Do you think there's a chance they'll form an alliance? No, it doesn't seem like it. Although we've still got a shot with the superpowers, there's talk of possible cooperation. But enough work talk, Miss Suno. I want you bent over my desk now. Wow! Peter! Estaga75, thanks for the follow. That's it? That's your damning evidence? Curiosity about foreign relations doesn't make one a spy. Perhaps, but why so much curiosity about these particular alliances if not because they could strengthen us against Rumburg? And that's not all. I found her resume on file, and there's a year-long gap between her finishing secretarial school and starting at the Maroon Palace. Normally this would have been looked into, but Miss Suno was hired before a background check and could be completed by one Peter Vectorn. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Livia opened it cautiously. Good morning, Mr. President. Mr. Galad, I didn't realize you'd be in so early. Can I get you some coffee? Coffee would be great, actually. Liv left to make the coffee. A few minutes later, she came back with 2 cups. Please have a seat, Miss Suno. Is something the matter? Enough pretending your secret is out. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Come on, Livia. Peter already told me everything. I'm so sorry, Mr. President. I was foolish, and Peter was so nice to me. But it's over now. Nobody ever needs to know. That's not what the President means, Miss Suno. We're referring to you being an intelligence agent for Rumburg. Pardon me, Mr. Galad, but are you feeling all right? Livia's the spy, Veld? Maybe it's Lucien. Maybe Lucien's the spy. Although I'm not sure why he would tell us there's a spy if he is the spy. Don't play dumb, Livia, if that's your real name. What do you have to say for yourself? Mr. President, I understand if you don't want me to keep my job, but why smear me with outlandish accusations? Miss Suno, indulge me for a moment. What were you doing in the year before Mr. President Rayne's inauguration? If you must know, I was working as a cigarette girl at Porto's. It's a Lavacan saloon. I was saving up so I could afford my own place in Holsword. Here's the proprietor's number if you need to double check. Why were you asking Peter about my alliances? To tell the truth, Mr. Rayne, I was hoping to run for office myself someday. I want to make a real difference in the world, like Miss Morgana or Miss Walda. But I guess I messed up by getting involved with Peter. Now they're all just going to say I slept my way to the top. Wait, how did you know about the conversation? There was a loud pounding on the door. Peter barged in without waiting for an answer. He was unshaven and wore the same clothes as the night before. I came as soon as I heard the three of you were in here. Anton, what the hell are you doing? I told you I had this under control. Sit down and shut up. Well, there's a small chance she could be a spy. What? I have reason to believe she's been relaying information to Rumburg. Information that you leaked to her in your carelessness. Lucien rewound his tape and played it again as Peter listened, his eyes widened with disbelief. Lucien, you rat bastard! You've been bugging my office! I didn't even think about that. Obviously for good reason. I'm sure there's an explanation for this. I had noticed that the vice president's behavior becoming increasingly erratic and unprofessional over the past months. I wanted to get to the root of the cause. So you wiretapped your own goddamn colleague? And for what? Have you been getting off on this, you pervert? Certainly not. I believe that along with the Rumburg whistleblower's admission that there is a spy in the palace, and certain gaps in Miss Suno's resume, this tape make a compelling case to investigate the Secretary for Espionage. Whether or not the investigation yields a positive result, Mr. Vectorn ought to be held accountable for his willingness to divulge such sensitive information. He ought to stand trial, or at the very least resign. If I may, Mr. President, I've been paying attention to what goes on in the palace, not because I'm some sort of double agent, but out of genuine interest, hard as that may be for you to believe, Mr. Galad. And from what I've seen, this man has been attempting to undermine your vice president at every turn, perhaps with the goal of replacing Peter himself. Oh my god, this is like, it's a soap opera. I don't know. Game of Thrones vibe here. I'll just whip out a sword and start stabbing everybody. Guards! Nonsense. Lucien's been nothing but loyal. Loyal to you, it's true. He never could stand me. My personal misgivings about Mr. Vectorn aside, I would never do anything to harm this administration. Mr. Vectorn, on the other hand, has at best committed adultery and at worst delivered state secrets straight into enemy hands. Who could I believe? Lucien, can I speak to you alone for a moment? I honestly ought to fire you for surveilling Peter. What else could I have done? You couldn't look past your history together and see Mr. Vectorn for who he truly is. You still can't. You might have a point. He's not the man he once was. I did say I'd handle it. I should have just talked to his freaking wife. Yes, just to be safe. No, I'll do it myself. She's too suspicious of you. I think Lucian might be the spy, actually. He was the one guy I trust! That's true. He did know before I phoned him. How do I know my own phone isn't bugged? Results of the affair scandal? Several days passed since I ordered the investigation into my secretary. Both Pater and Livia had been acting unnaturally nice to me, believing I'd let them off the hook for their affair. They seemed to be avoiding each other in the hallways, though. I was just settling in behind my desk when Lucian knocked on the door. Sir, a moment of your time. Of course. Lucian entered my office and closed the door behind him. Our security team traveled to Lockhaven to speak to the owners of the pub Miss Suno named. They confirmed that one Livia Suno had worked there. Their description of her did not match that of your secretary. However, it did match that of an unidentified corpse that washed up in Lingkrug Bay 2 months before your inauguration. Oh, shit! If that was Livia Suno, who's the woman working for me? Man! Further investigation by our operatives in Rumburg matched Miss Suno's description to a woman named Ilana Vance, last seen graduating from Crimsrod Political Sciences Institute. She is the spy? Our whistleblower from Rumburg recognized the name Vance as belonging to a deeply embedded covert agent, although he had previously assumed it was a man. Are we sure that it's not Lucian? He's the one giving me all this information. If our whistleblower thought the spy is a man, could the whistleblower have been thinking of Lucian? That lying two-faced succubus. How could we have missed all this? As mentioned, Miss Suno was hired without a background check. It's possible that all this could have been avoided had any of Mr. Vectern's blood flow been directed to his brain when he selected her. But none of that can be helped now. The question is, what are you going to do, sir? What do you mean? I'm going to murder them both. That seems like a bad idea. What do you think I should do? The standard procedure would be to try Miss Suno for treason. If we do so, it's only a matter of time before the media pieces together what happened. 3 for a Game of Thrones ending? Easy. I'll get Marcel on it. I'll look the fool for having her under my nose this entire time. Outwarded by a woman. It wouldn't look good. What if there were no trial, Lucian? What if we murdered her? Yeah, easy. I'll get Marcel on it. Asking Mr. Contani for help would be advisable, but you'd still have to do a fair amount of crisis management yourself, starting by letting Peter Vectern take the fall. I know his actions were problematic. Mr. Vectern put you in danger by failing to order a background check on your closest personal staff. He betrayed your confidence to a woman with whom he was committing adultery. Anton, would you do the same for your so-called best friend? I just don't like Lucian anymore. I don't trust him. He's recording and spying on our own people. Part of me thinks he might be the mole. No, I wouldn't. I will blame Aelana, and nobody else. You tell me, Aelana. Livia, sir. My name is Livia. Aelana Vance, you are under arrest on the suspicion of treason. Please come with me. What the hell is going on, Mr. President? Have you let Lucian get to your head? I thought you were smarter than that. You're going to pay for your lies, Aelana. Her name was Aelana, Lucian. Lucian was right. She's a spy. Ouch! You're saddled, drunk, and a lousy lay? Oof. Honestly, if I were a Rumburg spy, I'd barely have to do a thing. You two have Sordland ripe for the taking. I think Lucian's the spy now. I really kind of think he is. Was she the spy, though, Jack Tank? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling like maybe it's actually Lucian. Also, Lucian totally is going to use the fact that I didn't turn on my best friend against me and betray me probably and run for president himself or something. Thank you for coming. As you are aware, Livia Suno, former secretary of the President of Sordland, is currently being tried for treason. Certain officials failed to conduct necessary background checks that would have prevented her from infiltrating our administration. They're now under investigation. Using advanced documents, forging technology, this woman managed to pass a rigorous Please rest assured that the traitor will be brought to justice. Despite the best efforts to undermine this administration, we are strong, unified, and capable as ever. We remain vigilant against external and internal enemies. Both Mr. Vector and I remain committed to keeping the great country of Sordland safe and secure. Thank you. Mr. President, have you chosen your next secretary yet? Would you like to submit an application? Ha! I have a few candidates in mind. Well, whoever she is, she's one lucky girl. The president will not be taking any more questions. Thank you. Evelyn's still divorcing me. That can't be helped, but overall, this was nowhere near as bad as it could have been. Source within the palace? Who do you think she meant? I think Lucian's the spy. Lucian's the spy! Maybe I shouldn't have blamed Rumberg publicly. Maybe that was a mistake. Briefing on the women's rights situation, eh? Oh, wait. First, we gotta look at the news. Spy jailed! Mr. President? Anton, before we start, I just wanted to thank you for agreeing to this meeting. I've been dreaming about this ever since I volunteered with the Sordland League of Women. I can't believe the moment's finally here. I think both of you together could finally bring change to Sordland. I hope you're right. Sierra sat down on a chair and laid down the folder she was holding. We still have a long way to go before Sordish women are able to enjoy the same rights and privileges as men, or even as their counterparts in Arcasia and the United Cantana. We've been lagging behind on this for decades, Anton, and this isn't only a moral issue. I've seen enough revolutions in this world to understand the main driver of any change: money. She flipped open and started pulling out documents. In United Cantana, law dictates that women earn the same wages as men in their respective fields. My research shows that this led to a 15.5 increase in productivity. You could say that this had a direct influence on their superpower status. Arcasia passed laws ensuring that maternity leave rights, child daycare centers, tax deductions for working families. In turn, they experienced a 12.6 productivity boost and a flourishing economy. Both countries also have significantly lower infant mortality rates, as a statistic I believe is directly linked to improved status of women. Our administration has thus far failed to pull Sordland out of its economic recession. So I'm asking, why not try passing similar laws? At worst, even if they fail to improve the economy, it'll still be a significant step forward for our society. It's only logical. Start carrying around a pistol? Criminalizing domestic violence, support for working mothers, equal treatment in the workforce, gender equality in public education. What? Yeah, that's a travesty. We should lift up all Sordish women, bloods included. Um... I guess I'll support my wife again. Hey, ATA Sergey Nowak. Good to see you here. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired. I'm a little bit quiet at this point, but we've kind of gone down the pro-women's right route, supporting our wife and now Ciara in setting up their commission. Hey, Sergey, I was talking to Ben Magnus the other day on Discord, and he mentioned that at least some of you guys are or were involved in Hearts of Iron Black Ice. Was that accurate? Is that everybody on the team or just some people on the team? Okay. See, it doesn't look like there's anything else other than Whole Sword. Swordish League of Women donation. The Swordish League of Women have requested a private donation from the president. Of course. I'll give one of my personal wealth away. Just you? You were involved in it? Awesome. Yeah, he mentioned that he kind of knew you guys. I don't know if you're aware, but I have a pod, or I am a co-host of a podcast where we do a lot of developer interviews. Be great to talk to you sometime about Suzerain. I was talking to Tortuga Power and John, sort of my co-host in the channel. They both would be interested as well, if you guys have the time. I know you guys are probably busy, but it would be great to set up an interview at some point. All right, what's going on in Velskord? Mediation of a dispute in the gendarme. All right, I guess we've got to go deal with the internal and external political disputes. Arrived in the city of Vesord with Pater after receiving an emergency meeting request from Josef and Leels. I had seen the report of a recent issue that rose between the Swordish police forces and the gendarme units in the city. The report said that an operation against a drug trafficking gang in Vesord failed due to miscommunication. It was not hard to guess what this meeting was going to be about. We entered the city hall and made our way to the second floor. I could hear Josef and Leel's voices echoing through the halls. I opened the doors to the meeting room. The two ministers did not even realize. All right, awesome. Yeah, I'll send you a note. All right, guys. Yeah, I'll shoot you a note on Discord probably sometime tomorrow. I'm probably going to head to bed shortly. This is unacceptable! How dare the police meddle in the affairs of the gendarme? It was your men who started this ridiculous and meddled with an ongoing police investigation. Their voices were getting louder and louder. Rural security is my jurisdiction, and your men were way outside Vesord. Please calm down and let's discuss this. What's going on? Apologies, but Miss Graf here fails to understand her place. No, Mr. Lankia, you are the one who does not understand his place. If you continue to do so, you will pay for it one day. Slam the table. Shocked the ministers. They fell silent. Leels, explain what happened. Ribonuke, thank you very much for the follow. Rinse Wind 82, by the way, 19 minutes ago. Don't think I thanked you either. Mr. Geyser was tasked with the investigation of a drug trafficking ring in downtown Vesord. We found the evidence of a drug stash located in the outskirts of the city. We had to act quickly, but to put an end to the criminals we have been watching for some time. So we immediately sent our police units to catch them and find the drugs in the compound. Mr. Lankia and his gendarme did not notify us that they were also moving against the same target. As a result, the criminals got away and we lost months of progress. Okay, awesome, AT. Or, I guess, Mr. Noack. I'll reach out to you somehow. I'm getting there? Yeah. Hey, can you lose earlier? Like, is it possible that I could have died or, like, been removed from office earlier than this? Or is the ending kind of set and it just depends on your decisions on how that unfolds? Seen shorter runs for sure, Ainsley? All right, cool. Yeah, this is my first playthrough, so all of this is new to me. Isn't there a line of communication between you two? There is, but the Minister of Defense decided to avoid notifying the police departments about the planned raid. The same could have been said about you because the reports show that you knew about the gang and their stash in the countryside. How do we solve this issue so that it never happens again? I think this was the last drop. Internal security matters should be handed to Ministry of Interior completely. We're called the Ministry of the Interior for a reason. We can't let any more screw-ups like this happen again. I want the gendarme to be transferred to the Ministry of the Interior. Can't these branches just try to improve their communication? Just saying. I believe I just told you to fix the problem, Mr. Vice President. Do you have a better solution, Yosef? Whenever operations overlap, we should engage at a lower rank with local officers on both sides. We could work on establishing that, but it still doesn't change the wrong system that exists now. No matter what, we need to eliminate this gray area and modernize our internal security. There's no way that the police arrived at the right time of the month-long search on the exact day and minute of the gendarme raid. This is conspiracy theory territory. There'll be no change related to the gendarme operations. I don't trust Lias. There we go. You're definitely going to try and coup me? Nine endings, 20 sub-branches of those. Early endings are not a thing. Okay. So there's 9, like, concrete different endings, and then 20 would be, like, subsets or, like, variations, I assume? All right. Rayne makes donation to Sordish League of Women. Anton Rayne donates to support women. Will policies follow? The economy's gotten a little bit better from its disastrous situation not that long ago. I'm just a little bit uneasy about spending more money to deal with. I'm assuming the polio situation is what we're going to be briefed on here. But I don't have a ton of money. Like, I don't want to go too much more into debt. At a meeting scheduled with Pascal to receive the annual healthcare report, he arrived at my office with stacks of paper underneath both arms. Mr. President, I know this seems like a lot. Reviewing it shouldn't take more than a day. Or maybe 2. Yeah, maybe. They contain very important information about the status of our healthcare. Salaries, spending, hospital reports, whatever you like. We can go through this together. Okay, let's begin. But I don't want to bore you, so I'll quickly summarize. So we've concluded our report for the year. Our services haven't necessarily gotten better compared to the last year's. We have missed several funding opportunities to expand our services in the country, leading to several issues being unsolved. Don't blame yourself. It was my decision. We're in this together, Mr. President. The ministry is trying to improve the efficiency where possible, even in this situation, I assure you. But as you can see, it hasn't been the best year for us all. And get to the bottom of it. I will do whatever I can. Now that I've given you the short summary, there is a very important matter to discuss. This is very concerning. It is, Mr. President. For now, it seems to be under control. We've put a few villages under quarantine. The total number of infected are only 1,467. The death toll is at 23 so far. If we have more outbreaks, the results will be terrible. We're not where we could have been in terms of our healthcare funding. With what we currently have, I'm afraid it might not be enough to curb the infection ratio. This is a very serious matter, Mr. President. Lives of Sordland citizens are at stake. I'll do whatever I can to eliminate the threat. With that attitude, I have no doubt that we will succeed in that. We have done our research. There's a cure. A vaccine was recently invented in United Cantana by a doctor, and the formula has been made available for free in the entire world. No matter what people think about United Cantana, if the same thing happens in Arcasia, we would be paying the price for it. Unfortunately, because of the state of our current funding, we do not have the required materials. We do not have the capability to produce the vaccine locally, which means we would have to buy it. It would be costly, but nothing comes before health. Procure what you need immediately? Yes. I'm going to go more into debt, but I need to deal with this. This is obviously going to be an issue. Whatever it takes to protect Sordland, do it. Okay. So we're massively in debt. Citizens in Esort have received their first completely free prescription medicine. Some cancer and diabetes patients have expressed how much the measure relieved their finances. A poor family gave an interview thanking the presidency for allowing their parents to live. It is reported that the measure has been successful around the country as well. Good. Let's ignore our massive debt. Hopefully it doesn't hurt us too badly. Aging citizens quit their jobs in Mornia. Many aging citizens in the city of Mornia have quit their harsh industrial jobs and submitted paper requesting their pension plan. While this has temporarily increased our unemployment rates, that doesn't make sense to me. If you retire, you are not unemployed. You are not participating in the workforce, sure, but it doesn't cause the unemployment rate to spike. If you're receiving your pension, if you're receiving money, if you're able to actually retire, I don't think that should count as unemployment. If anything, that might help the economy because it will reduce the number of people looking for jobs. It will add people into the retirement category who are spending money and living but don't require an income, and it will open up those positions for people who are looking for work to actually go in and work. I would think, anyway. Fire up the money printers, young thuggers? Yeah, maybe. All right. What's next? Less smoke bill. Sign or veto the less smoke bill that was approved by the Grand National Assembly. What the hell is that? I didn't see anything about the less smoke bill. I mean, I'm guessing it's like, what is it, environmental policy? The Assembly passed an amendment to the Tax Bill of 1944 in order to increase tax revenue and reduce excessive amounts of tobacco consumption in the general populace. Section 1 of the TB44, which had imposed a 10% tax on all tobacco packages, will be increased to 30% on tobacco products sold in the country. Section 2 will protect local industries by giving them full tax exemptions if products are destined for export. Yeah, give me money. I'm sure it won't be popular, but... Time to smoke less? The administration has signed the Less Smoke Bill, aimed at increasing tax income from the government to reduce high tobacco consumption. Tobacco was recently discovered as dangerous to personal health after researchers in United Cantana published an international paper. There have been opposing voices on the increase of packed cigarettes, especially foreign ones that are favored by the Sordish. So which countries like it less? Doesn't really say. Declare war, take wealth from a weaker neighbor. Oh, with the new update, ATA? Yeah, I saw some of the patch notes. I think I saw someone originally in my chat said, like, as long as your budget doesn't get to -9, you're fine. All right, and on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up here. Hope you guys did enjoy this episode as we continue to play through Suzerain. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.